So Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and the renounced order of life, Sannyasa. O killer of Keshi demon, the master of senses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. The same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service. For example, yoginam api sarvesham. All of the yogis or transcendentalists, one who always thinks of me within himself is the best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature and transcendental nature and devotional service were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu. Om Tat Sat, people say, right? That is Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad Gita has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas and the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Certain impersonalists consider themselves to have a monopoly on the knowledge of Vedanta Sutra, but actually Vedanta Sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, bhakti yoga. For the Lord himself is the composer of Vedanta Sutra and he is the knower. That is described in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As in the 2nd chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter, also summary of all the instruction is given. So 18th chapter is summary of the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above the 3 modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the 2 distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, namely renunciation, Tyaga, and the renounced order of life, Sannyasa. So, there are 2 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. One is Tyaga, renunciation, and Sannyasa. Thus, he is asking the meanings of these 2 words. 2 words used this verse are to address the Supreme Lord Rishikesh and Keshi Nisudana. Rishikesh is Krishna, master of all senses, which can always help us attain mental serenity. Arjuna requests him to summarize everything in such a way that he can remain equipoised. So Arjuna is requesting, can you summarize what Bhagavad Gita is for me? Yet he has some doubts, and doubts are always compared to demons. We read this in 2nd chapter also. Doubts are demons. He therefore addresses Krishna as Keshi Nishudana. Keshi was the formidable demon who was killed by the Lord Krishna. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt. So first verse, Arjuna's request to kill the doubts in his mind. Now 2nd verse, let's get to that. Repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarva Karma Falatyagam Prahos Tyagam Vichakshanaha. Since Hindi comes from Sanskrit, half of the words you already know, right? Like Sarva Karma, all activities. Falatyagam, result you give up, tyag kar do usko. Karmanam, activity. Sannyasam, sab kuch de dena, sab kuch chhodna. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned man is called renunciation. It's not like you give up every activity. Give up activity what? Of material desire. ये नहीं कि I am giving up everything, मंदिर भी आना छोड़ दूंगा, because that is also one activity. नहीं, that is spiritual activity. Giving up of material desire is sannyas. Not every activity. You still can go to tirthasthan, you can go to temple, you can do charity. That is not giving up. If you give up everything, then what is left? Nothing is there, right, in life. You have to give up material activities, but do spiritual activities. So Srila Prabhupada says the performance of activities for results is to be given up. Normally, if we do something, we want some result. That activity is to be given up. But spiritual activity should also be continued till the point of death. You never give them up. In the Vedic literature, there are many prescriptions of methods for performing sacrifice for some particular purpose. So you do sacrifice, yajna. Yajna is again pleasing Vishnu, Om Tat Sat. But doesn't mean that you give that up. No, you still have to do those activities. There are certain activities performed to attain a good son, Putra Kameshti Yajna. If you don't have kids, you perform that yajna so that you'll have a nice kid, right? That is again to Vishnu so that you get something good. Having a kid is not material, it is also spiritual. Why? Because when you die, the kid will do your Antim Sanskar. So everybody has to die. So a kid is required, a son is required actually. And then there are some sacrifices to go to higher planets like Swargalok. Going to Swargalok is also a process. For that you have to perform some yajna. But sacrifices for material desire should be given up. Oh, I want Tesla, I want this big house, I want this. For that if you do yajna, that is a material desire. You should do yajnas for spiritual desires, but not for material desires. Okay, now let's go to the next slokam. So please repeat after me. Tyajyam doshavad iti eke. Like in Hindi we say ek. Where does that word come from? Eke, Sanskritam, right? So everything we know from Indian languages comes ultimately from Sanskritam. Karma prahur manishinaha yajnadana tapah karma natyajyam iti chapare. So half of the words you can recognize because if you know any Indian language, half of the words you know. Okay, let's learn one more time. Tyajyam doshavad iti eke karma prahur manishinaha. What is manishinaha means? Manush, humans, right? Manishinaha. That is pertaining to humans. Krishna didn't give Bhagavad Gita for animals. He gave it to humans, us. We have to learn so that we can lead a good life. If you don't know Bhagavad Gita, then what are you going to learn? Harry Potter? What are you going to learn from Harry Potter? Nothing. Right? That's just fiction. This is reality. Yajnadana tapah karma. Yajnadana tapah karma. Right? In the olden days, people could recite Sanskrit for half an hour. Now 2 words is difficult because we watch too much TV. We watch all diminutive. Diminutive means everything is reduced to dumbed down version. 2024, almost everybody in the world is dumbed down. Right? But we have to become intelligent. Just because everybody around you is dumb doesn't mean you continue to be dumb. We have an obligation to become intelligent, and Krishna is giving that knowledge to us. Okay? So Krishna is saying some learned men declare all kinds of fruitive activity should be given up. Oh, everything should be given up. Just tyaga. Just go to Himalayas and sit under a tree, but there are no trees in Himalayas. So you have to sit on snow. When I went to Himalayas, I saw one yogi sitting on snow like this. Because of yogic power, they don't need $200 North Face jacket, for example, right? They can generate heat internally. But then they have given up everything, even which is useful for our own progress, our own liberation. They have given that also up. That is not correct. We have to give up negative things, but you have to still retain some of the spiritual aspects so that we can attain mukti or moksha, right? If you give up everything, then what is left? Nothing is left, right? Other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity and penance should never be abandoned. So this is the correct understanding. Sacrifice, yajna, should never be given up. Charity, dana, should never be given up. And penance, tapasya, should never be given up. What is tapasya? You can do tapasya here in Sammamish. You don't have to go to Himalayas. How? Can anybody tell me? How can you do tapasya here? कुछ तो बोलो. Janmashtami. Yeah, go ahead, Mahayati. Spiritual activities, but specifically, like on Janmashtami, devotees fast from morning till midnight, even without water, nirjal. Very difficult. I have done it. Very difficult. But you have to do it. Tapasya, you don't have to run away somewhere, go to Vrindavan, go to Himalayas. You can do right in Samamish by fasting on a spiritual day. No water. They'll be burning in the stomach by like 8 o'clock in the night. But you just tolerate. Next morning, 7 o'clock, you break the fast. Then you will relish water. Even that one drop of water, it is so tasty. Normally we keep on drinking, no taste. We keep eating 3 times, no taste. Why? Because we were overloading the system. One day you do tapasya by not eating anything, then 1 grain of rice, ek dana, will taste like amrit. It is so tasty. I never realized that rice is so tasty, right? Like that. Okay, let's do the next slokam. Nishchayam Shruno me Tatra. Shruno means hear. So Krishna is saying, oh, hear from me, Arjun. Everything, knowledge comes from not reading actually, by hearing, right? In the olden days, they didn't have printed books. But how did the knowledge come? For millions of years, knowledge is being transmitted. How? Simply by hearing. And Krishna is saying, hear me, Arjun. He didn't say, oh, go home and search on Google. He didn't say that, right? He said, here, knowledge is coming from. And like the teacher says, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. How do you know it is 2? Teacher said so, right? Hearing. Just by hearing, you say 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So Krishna is saying, hear from me. Tyago hi purusha vyagra trividaha samprakirtitaha. You become very intelligent just by learning Sanskritam, right? English is a highly diluted language. It also comes from Sanskritam, but it is a highly diluted language, right? A lot of English words still have Sanskrit roots. Anybody can think of one? Where does mother come from? Matra. Matra devo bhava, right? So, mother comes from matra. Matra is Sanskritam for mother. Pitra, father. The etymology is the same. Etymology means the source, the science of linguistics, right? So, if you learn Sanskritam, you will be the smartest. But now we give more emphasis on English. But of course, even a janitor in America speaks English, right? So, what's so great about English? First thing, you have to learn Sanskritam. English automatically you'll learn. Just by virtue of being in this country, you'll learn English, right? So, Sanskritam is most important. And there have been research done that how the neural networks in your brain are aligning just by Sanskritam. And Sanskritam should be very, Ucharan should be very, like for example, I said, Samprakrititaha. Say that. Samprakirtitaha. What is that? Yeah. So, Kirti. What is Kirti? Fame or announcement. Samprakirtitaha means somebody is declaring, or Krishna is declaring. This is what you should do, Arjun. Right? He's declaring. He doesn't mince words. You know what mincing words is? No. He says, do it. Right? He's very emphatic. So Krishna is saying, oh best of Bharatas. Why is Arjuna called Bharata? He comes from the family of Bharat. Why is India called Bharat Desh? Because of Bharat Maharaj, an ideal king ruled millions of years ago. Right? So he comes in that family line. Arjun comes in that family line. My judgment about renunciation. Oh, tiger among men. Vyagra. Vyagra means tiger. So he says Purusha Vyagra. So it's called a Sandhi. You know what a Sandhi is? You know what a Sandhi is? They don't teach you in American schools. So you are at a disadvantage. I grew up in India, so I'm at an advantage because I know more than the average American, right? But now you can also learn from the Bhagavad Gita, right? So Sandhi means when you put 2 words together, it becomes a Sandhi. Sandhi means association, or what is the right word? It's not even association. integration, you can say integration. So Purusha means human, Vyagra means tiger. So, O tiger among men. In English you have to use O tiger among men. 4 words. Sanskrit is a very highly efficient language. So in 2 words you say the things that in English requires 4 words. So that's why in University of Washington Computer Science Department, they are doing research on compilers using Sanskrit. Right? Sanskrit, for example, there are many words, right? In the previous verse also we learned 1 word. Manishinaha. Manush is humans. Naha means belonging to humans. So in English you have to say belonging to humans. 3 words. Sanskrit only 1 word. Manishinaha. Right? So who is more intelligent? English speakers or Sanskrit speakers? Your brain can think in a compact manner if you know the Sanskrit language. You understand now? The reason to learn Sanskrit. English is a dumb language, right? People who learnt English in Europe, they were basically, doing simple things in Europe when India was an advanced civilization. People had atomic weapons in India. People had mantric powers, yogic powers, and all these people were like living in caves in Europe. So, who is more advanced? People who have this knowledge is more advanced. You see that? Buzz from the mic. Okay, next slokam, we'll learn this. Niyatasya tu sanyasaha karmano nopapadyate mohat tasya parityagas tamasaha paritirtyaha means, we learned this in the previous verse also, means declared. Krishna is declaring boldly. So he's saying prescribed duty should be never renounced. So we have duties. You cannot say, oh, I will now surrender to Krishna, so I will not take care of my kids. No. Those are prescribed duties. You still have to do them. You cannot escape from them. If one gives up his prescribed duty because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So you can do sannyasa in ignorance. You can do sannyasa in passion. You can do sannyasa in goodness. Same activity, but you can do it in 3 different levels. 3 different levels. So Krishna says work for material satisfaction must be given up. But activities that promote one to spiritual activity should not be given up. So if you don't have this book, get one from our bookstore. Right? You should read this every day. You'll become intelligent. Cooking for oneself is prohibited. A lot of times people just cook and they themselves eat. But cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. So right now what are they doing? They put a curtain, they cook downstairs in the kitchen, they are offering bhoga to the Lord. So if you do it for the Lord, there is no karma involved in it, no sin involved in it. But if you just cut a spinach and then cook yourself, then you have the sin of cooking the spinach. You are killing the spinach tree to enjoy. So there is some karmic activity. But if you do the same spinach sabji for Krishna, then there is no papam. And then that when you eat as prasadam, it is karma-free diet. In our library we have a book called Karma-Free Diet. Anything that you eat has karma built into it. But when you offer it to Krishna and then you eat prasadam, no karma, zero karma. Karma-free diet. So there is karma-free diet, karma-free activity, right? If you do vacuum cleaning of the carpet in your home, there is karma involved. But if you do vacuum cleaning of carpet in the temple, is there karma? Why? Because you are doing it for pleasure of the Lord. Same activity, same vacuum cleaner, same you, same time it takes half an hour. But here, no karma. At home, you are doing karma. How? When you are sucking away some of the microbes and killing some of the spiders, you have now killed those spiders. So you have karma involved in it. Same activity, different results. Like that. Okay, let's do one more. I know everybody has to go home. Dukkam iti eva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat tyajet sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labet. Naiva tyaga phalam labet. You will not get the result of renunciation. You see, you are renouncing, but you are not getting the result. Very tricky, huh? It's not like you just wear this saffron cloth and you become renounced. No. This shirt only costs like 200 rupees. In 200 rupees, can you become renounced? 200 rupees is what? $2.50. That's it. No. Naiva tyaga phalam labet. If you do it in mode of passion, in under excitement, if you do renunciation, it is not giving you the desired result. So, lot of times people do lot of things, but they get zero result. Isn't it foolish? That's why you should know what does the Creator want from us, not what we want from us, right? Look from His perspective, not from our perspective. Most of the people in this world lead a life from their perspective, their center of gravity, their center of thinking. But we should think from Krishna's perspective. And how do you know Krishna's perspective? By following His instruction as documented in the Bhagavad Gita, right? That is why we need to read scripture. There are 1 million books in Seattle Central Library. 1 million. But all of them will teach you nothing because they are from the author's perspective. Only Bhagavad Gita is from the Creator's perspective. See the difference? So 1 million plus 1. So read this book and then you get the benefit of reading all the 1 million books. Why? Because they are all subset of what the Creator wants from us. Right? So most of the time we spend hours and hours, days and days, years and years reading from our perspective. Right? So we'll have Aarti in 7 minutes. You want to continue or go home? You should wait for the Aarti, right? So let's wait. We'll read one more. Karyam, loudly. Karyam iti eva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagaha satviko mataha. Okay, now I'll teach you something about how to read the shlokas, right? You should read it in a musical meter. Karyam iti eva yat karma. Karyam iti eva yat karma. Like that, right? Previously we were learning the words. Now it should be like a music. Niyatam kriyate arjuna. Sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva. Satyagaha satviko mataha. I know you don't have the book. It's easy for me because I have the book. Actually, you can go pull out your smartphones. You can go to a site called vedabase.io. Pull out your smartphones. Everybody has, right? We made Apple a $128 billion company by buying these devices. Like each device costs $800, $1,000. Became one of the richest companies in the world because we promote it. Okay? So go to vedabase.io and pull out Bhagavad Gita as it is, the very first tile there. And then click on it, then go to chapter 18. I am on chapter 18.9. Good. You are paying so much attention. Yeah. Okay. Karyam iti eva yat karma. Did you find it? Yeah. Vedabase.io, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 9. So click on 18 and then scroll down to verse 9. Okay, let's do it again. Karyam iti eva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagaha satviko mataha. So the translation is, O Arjun, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, right? Mother takes care of kids' diapers because it ought to be done, that's it. When you took care of their diapers, did you say, oh, when you grow old, you're going to take care of me, that's why I'm going to take care of you? No, you did it as a duty, right? You do it as a duty, that's it. No expectation of return. And renounces all material association attachment to the fruit. So you do all this, but you don't expect any fruit, phal, right? Normally we expect fruit when we go to office. We expect the salary. Why would we work unless we get a salary? But here Krishna is saying, do things as a matter of duty, but don't expect any result or the fruit. Then the renunciation is said to be in mode of goodness. Sattva guna. Goodness means sattva guna. Passion means rajoguna. And ignorance means tamogun. Right? Tamogun means you do things because you just want to do. No rule or rhythm or anything. That's why it's called ignorance. Because you do it just out of whim and fancy. Rajogun means you do it because I want some result. Right? And then Sattvagun means you do it because it is ought to be done. Right? Parents have to take care of kids. That's it. No questions asked. Not because the kids were going to do something for you 30, 40 years later. It's not guaranteed. They may or may not. Right? It's not guaranteed. Okay? Let's do the next verse. Nadveshti akushalam karma. We are on 18th chapter, verse 10, Prabhu. Nadveshti akushalam karma kushale nanusajjate tyagi sattva samavisto medhavi chinna samsayah. So people use the term medhavi. What does medhavi means? Very intelligent. Medhavi, right? Medas. You use your medas, intelligence, to do something. Right? Nadveshti akushalam karma kushale nanusajjate tyagi sattva samavisto medhavi chinna samshayah. So the intelligent renouncer, not the Falgu Tyagi. In Bihar, who is anybody from Bihar here? No? Has anybody been to Bihar? There is a river called Falgu River. You can look it up online. In Falgu River, it looks dried. But when you scratch 6 inches, there is water. So it's not a real river. It's a Falgu means, in Hindi, falls. So there is something called Falgu Vairagya. Means, you say, I don't want this, I don't want this, but inside you have that desire. Right? And Krishna he has an X-ray vision. He can see what's inside your heart. Externally you may say something, but he will know what's internal to your heart. Right? He has got X-ray vision. So you cannot trick Krishna. You think you can trick Krishna? You cannot not even trick your mom. So forget tricking Krishna. Right? So people trick somebody for a little while, but not all the time, right? Politicians also try to do that. They trick people for a little while, but eventually people figure out. So this Falgu Vairagya is useless. Real renunciation is what? What is Krishna saying here? It is indeed impossible for an embodied living to give up all activities. You have to act. You have to play game. You have to cook something. You have to go to school or college, you have to work. Krishna says in 3rd chapter, you have to work. You cannot give up work. In chapter 3, he says that. You have to work. But all these things you have to do it for pleasure of God, Krishna. You see the difference? You cannot give up activity. How can you give up activity? If you sit like this, can you sit like this from 8 o'clock right now till 9 o'clock without going home? Just sit like this. Possible? Not possible. Not possible. Right? And therefore, we have to do it for pleasure of God rather than giving up activities. Giving up activities is not possible. Right? People go, leave their hometown, go to Himalayas to do meditation, and when they're closing their eyes, they're thinking of Mumbai. Because they cannot give up. Inside you cannot give up. Externally you can give up. But inside the mind is always craving for variety. Why do we have 300 TV channels? On Netflix there are 1 million movies. Because mind craves for variety. But watching a movie, you have wasted 3 hours. And then you need a Tylenol at the end of it. But when you do activity for Krishna, there is some benefit, right? There has to be some benefit. Why do you do things waste of time, right? When you do something, there should be some benefit. Otherwise, we are foolish to do something without any benefit. End of 2 hours of a movie, what did you get? Nothing. So why do? Right? Instead of that, you can read Bhagavad Gita, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, come and do some seva in the temple. There is some benefit. So we should become Baniya for Krishna. What does a Baniya do? If I do X, I want Y, return back. Don't do anything waste of time. Don't waste your time, right? You have to use it for your own benefit. Otherwise, what's the point? So, Krishna is saying, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called renounced. So, you get a salary, you use some of it for Krishna, right? Build a temple, buy Bhagavad Gitas and give it to your neighbors. Donate Bhagavad Gitas. That way you are getting some benefit. Otherwise, what's the point? Actually, if somebody is poor on the road and you give some money, and the fellow goes to a 7-Eleven and buys beer and drinks it, you will get 50% of the karma. So when you do charity, charity should be careful charity, not foolish charity. Right? Anyway, most of the charity you see on TV, donate to this cause, that cause, and then they caught some people having a party with all the money that they collected. Right? Most of it is wasted anyways. So better do directly. Right? You cook, you buy in the grocery store, cook items, offer it to Krishna and give it to your neighbors. That charity is better. Right? That's why we have Food for Life program, where in Africa, in various places where there is poverty, they cook prasadam and give it to people. So the cook is benefited because he's offered it to Krishna, and the recipient is benefited. Why? Because they're eating something which is offered to Krishna prasadam. Right? So do something with intent, not, why are you doing this? I don't know, I'm just doing it. That's foolishness, right? That has no merit to it. Okay, we'll do one more verse since the curtain has not been opened yet. Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram cha, Tribidham, Karmanaha, Phalam, Bhavati, Atyaginam, Pretya, Natu, Sannyasinam, Kvachet. Anishtam. What is Anishtam? Anybody know? Leading to hell. Leading to hell. Ishtam is leading to heaven. Mishram, mixed. So most of the time in our material life, we mix masala. We mix everything, little bit of this, which is not going to help us. We have to come to clarity. What does Krishna want from us? Otherwise, you'll spend life after life taking birth again. Punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. Maranam means death, jananam means birth. This is our story. What is our story? We are born, we die. What is story of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft? He is born and very soon he'll die. His son is already dead. So all the millions, his annual salary is what, 200 million, and out of which half of goes to taxes, 100 million. What is he going to do with that? He is going to die. I am going to die. Everybody is going to die at some point. So we have to use our human life to do something valuable, something good. Good means what? Only for Bhagavan, Krishna. Good doesn't mean, being nice, opening a door for somebody. Those are all moral etiquette. It's called etiquette. Means good behavior, that's all. But real good is working for pleasure of Bhagavan, Krishna. Like you have tolerated me for the last half an hour because you're hearing something good. That half an hour is well invested out of the 24 hours. Rewind 23 and a half hours, don't know, doubtful, right? Doubtful whether it is for our eternal good. Eternal good means life after life. Because when we die, we again take birth. How did we take birth? Because we died in our last life. A lot of people say, oh, how were you born? Oh, my parents made a mistake. Or what is this? Parents didn't make a mistake. You are destined to be born, so you are born again. When you have karma, you are born again. You cannot stop that. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. So you have done some good activity, that will accrue after death. And accrue means it's a financial term. You accrue your revenue, right? Like that, accrue after death. You do bad things, that will accrue after death in the form of a new body. And mixed, some here, some there, kabhi kushi, kabhi gum, like that. That also will accrue. As a result, some people are born in good families. I mean, you're all born in good families. You are sitting in the world's richest country, in a beautiful temple, and listening Bhagavad Gita. Not everybody has this good fortune. Right? Good fortune means you're able to hear the message of Lord. Otherwise, they'll say, oh, Prabhu, it gives me a headache, Prabhu. This Bhagavad Gita gives me a headache. Those people are also there. Right? When we started, we had 30 people in the room. Some people have walked away because they cannot take it. It's too much intense. Right? So to even hear this message requires some amount of good karma from your past life. Okay, let's do some kirtan and then they will start the